Stephen A. Smith, never one to shy away from bold takes, ignited a firestorm with his recent podcast rant, calling for a lifetime WNBA ban on Brittney Griner after she reportedly expressed reluctance to represent the United States again. Controversy, rooted in Griner's comments following her 2022 detention in Russia, has divided fans, sparked debates about patriotism, and drawn parallels to loyalty clashes in hip-hop culture. Smith's demand for severe punishment stems from his view that Griner's remarks are a slap in the face to the country that orchestrated her release from a Russian prison. Yet, critics argue Smith may have jumped the gun, possibly reacting to a misattributed quote, while Griner's defenders point to her trauma and right to free expression. The saga, unfolding in 2025, raises questions about athletes' obligations, personal struggles, and the boundaries of public criticism. Griner's ordeal began in February 2022, when Russian authorities arrested her at a Moscow airport for possessing vape cartridges containing cannabis oil, a substance illegal in Russia. The arrest, coming amid heightened U.S.-Russia tensions, led to a high-profile trial. Griner, a WNBA star and Olympic gold medalist, was sentenced to 9 years in a penal colony, a punishment many deemed harsh and politically motivated. Her detention sparked global outcry, with teammates, fans, and U.S. officials rallying for her release. After 10 months of grueling conditions, Griner was freed in December 2022 through a controversial prisoner swap, with the U.S. releasing arms dealer Victor Bout. The deal, brokered by the Biden administration, was hailed as a diplomatic win but criticized by some as a risky trade-off. Griner returned home a hero to many, resuming her WNBA career with the Phoenix Mercury and rejoining Team USA, though her experience left deep scars. Smith's outrage centers on comments Griner allegedly made in a 2025 interview, expressing frustration with the U.S. government's handling of her detention and suggesting she might not represent the country again. While the exact quote remains disputed, Smith interpreted it as a rejection of Team USA, a stance he deemed ungrateful given the government's efforts to secure her freedom. On his podcast, he unleashed a scathing critique, arguing that Griner's remarks disrespect the nation and the WNBA, which thrives on American support. "You don't get to bite the hand that freed you," he said, calling her stance a betrayal of the opportunities afforded by her country and league. His call for a lifetime ban, a punishment rarely seen in sports, stunned listeners, framing Griner as a symbol of ingratitude in a time when loyalty is under scrutiny, much like the hip-hop feuds of Eminem and 50 Cent, where authenticity and allegiance are paramount. Griner's defenders push back, arguing Smith's reaction is overblown and possibly misinformed. Some sources suggest the quote was taken out of context or misattributed, noting Griner never explicitly vowed to boycott Team USA. Her comments, they claim, reflect raw emotion from a traumatic experience rather than a definitive stance against her country. Arrested, tried, and imprisoned in a foreign nation, Griner endured months of uncertainty, harsh conditions, and public vilification. Her supporters argue that her frustration, likely aimed at bureaucratic delays or the politicization of her case, doesn't equate to disloyalty. They point to her return to the WNBA and her continued contributions, including a 2023 All-Star selection, as proof of her commitment. Her lupus diagnosis, revealed in 2023, adds another layer, with health struggles compounding the emotional toll of her ordeal. To these fans, Smith's call for a ban is not just harsh but an attack on her right to process her trauma publicly. Parallels to hip-hop's loyalty wars are striking. Just as Eminem and 50 Cent's feuds with rivals like The Game or Lil Meech hinge on accusations of disloyalty and inauthenticity, Smith's critique of Griner questions her gratitude and allegiance. In hip-hop, snitching or betraying allies can end careers. In sports, rejecting national pride carries similar weight for critics like Smith. He argues that Griner, as a public figure benefiting from American platforms, owes a degree of loyalty, especially after the government's high-stakes efforts to free her. The Bout swap, controversial for releasing a convicted arms dealer, amplified the stakes, making Griner's perceived ingratitude a lightning rod. Smith's stance reflects a broader cultural expectation. Athletes, like rappers, must uphold certain codes, particularly when their freedom or success is tied to collective support. Yet, the push for a lifetime ban raises thorny questions. The WNBA has never imposed such a penalty, even for severe infractions. Smith's demand, lacking precedent, feels more like a provocative soundbite than a feasible proposal. Critics argue it infringes on Griner's free speech, punishing her for an opinion, however controversial, rather than an action. The WNBA, which has championed social justice and player expression, from kneeling during anthems to advocating for equality, would face a backlash for entertaining such a ban. Griner's case also highlights the double standards athletes face, expected to be grateful and silent, especially as a Black queer woman whose identity already draws scrutiny. Her supporters draw parallels to Muhammad Ali, who faced backlash for refusing military service, yet was later celebrated for his principles. Griner's comments, while divisive, stem from a deeply personal experience, not a rejection of her country's values. Public reaction is split. Some fans echo Smith, viewing Griner's remarks as a betrayal of the nation that fought for her. They argue her platform, built on American sports culture, comes with responsibilities, and her words undermine the sacrifices made for her release. Others see Smith's outburst as performative, capitalizing on a hot-button issue to stir debate. His history of bold takes, calling out athletes like Colin Kaepernick for their activism, suggests a pattern of challenging figures who defy expectations. Griner's case, however, is complicated by her trauma and the lack of clarity around her exact words. Without a direct quote confirming her refusal to play for Team USA, Smith's critics argue he's amplifying a narrative for clout, not truth. The WNBA has remained silent, leaving the controversy to simmer in the media. Griner, too, has avoided public comment, focusing on her 2025 season, where she continues to perform as a dominant center. Her silence mirrors Eminem's strategic restraint in feuds, letting the noise fade while proving his worth through work. But the debate persists, fueled by podcasts, talk shows, and online forums. Taps into broader tensions, the expectation of gratitude from public figures, the cost of free speech in sports, and the weight of trauma in shaping public statements. Griner's ordeal, arrested, imprisoned, and swapped in a geopolitical chess game, sets her apart from typical athlete controversies. Her comments, whether misquoted or not, reflect a human grappling with an extraordinary ordeal, not a calculated attack on her country. As of August 2025, no ban is in sight, and Griner remains a key figure in the WNBA. Smith's call, while attention-grabbing, seems unlikely to gain traction, given the league's progressive stance and lack of precedent. Still, the saga underscores the fragile line athletes walk between personal expression and public expectation. Like Lil Meech's struggle to uphold his father's legacy or Toni Braxton's financial controversies, Griner's story is about authenticity under pressure. Was she wrong to voice her frustration, or is Smith's reaction a rush to judgment? The answer lies in the gray area of trauma, loyalty, and the right to speak one's truth. What's your take? Should Griner face consequences, or is Smith overreacting? Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.